Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Before proceeding towards today's lecture, I will discuss briefly about different tenures of Pakistan former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. And before proceeding this lecture, I will give you a short introduction of former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. Benazir Bhutto was born on June 21st, 1953 at Karachi in a political family. She was the eldest child of former Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. She was a politician who served as Prime Minister of Pakistan from 1988 to 1990 and again from 1993 to 1996. She was the first woman to head a democratic government in a Muslim majority nation. Ideologically a liberal, and she chaired or co-chaired the Pakistan People's Party from 1980s until her assassination in 2007. From 1988 to 1999, almost 11 years, this decade is regarded as the third democratic era in Pakistan's political history. And in this era, twice late Muhtarma Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif ruled Pakistan alternatively, each being elected twice with heavy mandate of the people. And after the death of General Ziaul Haq, democracy returned again in 1988 after the general election, and Pakistan People's Party back into the power, and this period lasting until 1999, introducing the parliamentary system and two-party democracy. And Pakistan was ruled by elected civilian government alternatively headed by Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif. And Benazir Bhutto was a very gentle lady and an Oxford graduate with a very wise head on her shoulders, and she was one of the very young politicians of her time. She became Prime Minister of Pakistan twice, and she got strong position in Pakistan politics, and she was a great contender of Pakistan Prime Minister as a very mature politician. After this brief intro, now I will elaborate you the question of your answer, and we are discussing question number 6 of your book. State the important event of the Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto government. And now I will tell you about the answer of this question, and the answer of this question is on your book, page number 16 and page number 17. Benazir Bhutto first government era started from 1988 to August 1990, and she was the first female prime minister in the Muslim world, and one of the youngest head of the state, first woman to lead a Muslim state, and she remained president of Oxford Union. And after in 17th August 1988, Ziaul Haq was killed in an air crash, and after his death, 11-year military rule came to an end. And as her death of Ziaul Haq, Chairman Senate Ghulam Ishaq Khan became the next acting president of Pakistan according to the constitution. And elections are held in November 1988, and election for the National Assembly, and on 19th November 1988 elections for the Provincial Assembly were held. And at that time Muhtarma Benazir Bhutto became the co-chairperson of Pakistan People's Party along with her mother, and she won the election 1988 and became the first lady Muslim prime minister, and she was welcomed by the people at the end of dictatorship. And now we will discuss the important event of Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto first term. And the first point is the dissolution of the Balochistan Assembly. The Chief Minister of Balochistan, Mir Zafarullah Khan Jamali, had just not gained the vote of confidence from the Balochistan Assembly in 1988 that the Benazir Bhutto government dismissed it. The Balochistan High Court took up the case and declared it as unconstitutional and restored the house. And the second point is by presidential elections. Ghulam Ishaq Khan won the presidential elections against Nawabzada Nasrullah Khan in December 1988 and took the oath of the office of Prime President. And at that time, Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto, Pakistan People's Party, voted for Ghulam Ishaq Khan, and Ghulam Ishaq Khan was also the consensus candidate of Islami Jamhuriya Ittihad, and 4 candidates took part in the election with Ghulam Ishaq Khan winning and securing the highest 608 votes against Nawabzada Nasrullah Khan in December 12, 1988. Dear students, you know that the process of the presidential election, and it is the duty of the Election Commission of Pakistan to held presidential elections in order to elect the president of the state, who must not be less than 45 years, whom can be a woman or a man, but should be a Muslim. The tenure of the president is for 5 years, and the Senate and the National Assembly and the provincial assemblies in a special session elect president under the supervision of Election Commission of Pakistan. Pakistan rejoined the Commonwealth, and Pakistan left 30th January 1972 in protest at the Commonwealth, and but rejoined on 2nd August 1989. And 52 countries are the member of the Commonwealth, and the purpose of the Commonwealth is for international cooperation and to advance the economic, social development and human rights in the member countries. And the next event is the foreign policy of Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto first era, and the government of Benazir Bhutto adopted the non-confrontation policy with India when Rajiv Gandhi visited Pakistan to participate in the 4th SAARC conference, and Benazir Bhutto joined hands of establishing good relations with him. And she also restored the political freedom and introducing the social and health reforms, and the government had launched the People Works program for the development and social welfare of the country and for providing the employment to the people. Public and Department Placement Bureau was set up, and thousands of people got employment through it. And the dismissal of Benazir Bhutto first government, Ghulam Ishaq Khan, who exercised his power through the constitutional 8th amendment 58 2b, and he dissolved the assemblies, and Benazir Bhutto was dismissed from the power on the charges of corruption. And after that, President Ghulam Ishaq Khan dissolved the national and the provincial assemblies on August 6, 1990, and declare a state of emergency in the country, and elections were scheduled to be held on October 24, 1990. Ghulam Ishaq Khan did not appoint a neutral or non-Pakistan caretaker cabinet or prime minister. He chose the leader of the opposition in the former National Assembly, Ghulam Ishaq Khan Jatoi, as the new caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan. The second tenure of Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto started in 1993. In October 1933, 93 elections were held again, and her Pakistan People's Party coalition, and re-elected in 1993 and dismissed 3 years later. And this time, Benazir Bhutto was dismissed by the President Farooq Laghari, who used the Eighth Amendment and discretionary power to dissolve the government. And this Eighth Constitutional Amendment added a clause to the Article 58 giving to the President the power to dissolve the National Assembly in his discretion, where, in his opinion, an appeal to the electorate was necessary. And now we are discussing the very important events of the second term of Benazir Bhutto. The first is the development programs. And during Benazir Bhutto's second term, construction of the Karachi flyover bridge and the Lahore bypass was started, and the plans for the farmers and the women. And she started the plans for the farmers and giving them a loan on easy installments. And he also launched a national tractor scheme for the farmers, especially for the small farmers, and social and health policies were formed for women's. And she tried to improve the status of women, and she made women police stations, she made banks for women, and she tried to make women code, and she started lady health workers, and she faced again opposition by the Muslim League. Her government, she launched the 8 5-year plan, which resulted in rapid development and prosperity of the country. And foreign visit of Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto and the Kashmir issue. Mrs. Bhutto made successful visit to Iran and Turkey, and she gained the moral support of these countries on the Kashmir issue, and many agreements of cooperation in different fields were signed, and the differences of different matters were developed between the President Mr. Farooq Ahmad Khan Laghari and the Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, and he dismissed the government on the charges of corruption uh, under the 58(2)(b of the Constitution, and Benazir Bhutto ruled over the country, ended about 3 years this time. And when Pakistan People's Party and Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto government dismissed in 1996, Nawaz Sharif returns as the Prime Minister after his Pakistan Muslim League wins election in 1996. With this, our discussion comes to an end, and students, today's lecture was very important and requires a lot of attention, and all the student must watch and listen the lecture at least 2 times to get the better understanding and concept of topic, and therefore study and learn regular basis, and stay safe and take care. Allah Hafiz.